Well, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday morning. I'm John Mayer.
And I'm Lily Taylor. A little bit of a nice few days in the mix for us before maybe some wet weather, but we won't talk about that yet.
Yeah, let's focus on the positives. The one issue, though, for folks that are heading out the door early this morning, still some fog that's lingering. I mean, honestly, not a huge surprise. It's Oregon. This is what we get this time of year. But I mean, that really feels like the only big wrinkle, Briana.
Yeah, for some areas, definitely the patchy fog could definitely make an impact on your morning commute. Luckily, not seeing any advisories tied to that patchy fog compared to where we were yesterday.
Absolutely, not even close.
No, definitely not. I mean, I just checked about 2 minutes ago and seeing about 10-mile visibility across the I-5 and the coastline. So starting to clear some of it up, considering we were seeing some of those changes for portions of the southern Willamette Valley. Now we're going to start to keep a close watch on those temperatures. A little bit of the relief working its way on in for some areas. So if you were not a fan of those cooler temperatures throughout the weekend or even throughout these early morning hours, we are working in the potential for the about 4 to 5 degrees warmer across some areas. Needless to say, these 40s and near 30s are going to continue to hang around for the Willamette Valley, even into portions of Douglas County as a whole, the Umpqua Valley specifically. A chance for those upper 40s and even low 50s through the remainder of the day. While we do see the potential for some fog to stick around throughout some areas, the cloud coverage managing to clear on out. We see that fog lifting, and then comes the sunshine into 50s and 60s territory. Some partly cloudy skies in store through majority of your afternoon, evening hours before we really start to ramp up that cloud coverage and see the possibility of more wet weather on and off throughout the rest of the week. We'll track that out coming up in just a bit.
LSB Live is sponsored by Alpha Towing and Recovery.
All right, we'll be looking forward to the rest of that forecast coming up. Thanks for that, Briana. And right now, we're taking a peek outside with our live shot buddy. He's hitting the roads there on I-5, heading north and heading up towards the Beltline Highway, where so far, so good. We really haven't seen any major issues out there. Again, any fog relatively patchy. We're not seeing any issues there on the interstate, though. We did have that early morning accident that we were tracking out over on Oregon 58. No longer even really seeing the delay there on the roadways, according to Trip Check, though. From what we understand, that semi-truck that was overturned still over on the side of the road, but it's not causing any slowdowns. And we're really not seeing many slowdowns to speak of all throughout the region. No big accidents or delays to mess up that morning commute, but we'll be keeping track of things and make sure to bring you the latest on any issues on the roads throughout the rest of the morning. Well, we are now entering day 28 of the ongoing federal government shutdown. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden putting an extra emphasis on the loss of SNAP benefits. Millions of Americans set to lose food assistance this weekend as that government shutdown drags near to its second month.
Wyden has joined his Democratic colleagues in voting a dozen times against reopening the government. However, Democrats also pushed a measure that would have funded the government through the end of the month, but it required Republicans to sign off on extending health care subsidies. And as we know, both sides have failed to agree on a plan to reopen the government.
And the bottom line is the federal government is in a position to provide critically needed funds for disasters. I can't think of anything that is a bigger disaster, for example, than having hungry senior citizens and kids and disabled people. It's not right, and it can be dealt with, and it can be dealt with quickly and fairly.
Wyden will be back in Oregon this weekend, and he said access to food will be a focus on his visit. We spoke with local food banks just last week. They reiterated the concerns around providing food for Lane County, saying they've seen less and less food come in from federal resources, while other agencies are seeing an increase in local demand.
Now, despite the ongoing federal government shutdown, one key program that would provide food assistance to pregnant women, new moms, and young children in need will be continuing. Agriculture Department confirming on Monday that the WIC program will keep running for the foreseeable future. The department using tariff money to keep that program going. Now, WIC serves nearly 7 million people around the nation.
At the state capitol, State Senator Christine Drazan is throwing her name in the hat once again, running for governor of Oregon, citing drugs and homelessness as just two of the reasons behind her run for governor. Drazan is no stranger to politics. She's been an Oregon state representative, ran for governor in 2022 against Governor Kotek, and is currently a state senator, a position she was just appointed to last week. She made the announcement at an event in Portland with her team and posted it on Facebook Live. No word on how she'll balance her role in the State Senate with her campaign for governor. In response to the announcement, the Democratic Governors Association put out a statement reading in part, quote, "After national Republicans wasted millions on her in 2022, Christine Drazan is back for another failed run to bring Donald Trump's agenda to Oregon. Similar to Trump, Drazan has spent her time in the state house voting to gut funding for Medicaid, supporting a dangerous abortion ban, and pandering to far-right extremists, including January 6 rioters and election deniers. Now she's cowering to Trump as he sends the National Guard into Portland in a clear abuse of power." Senator Drazan will be in our studio later today to talk about her second run for governor. We'll have that interview for you tonight.
Meanwhile, we're still tracking that big week ahead in the ongoing legal battle over the deployment of National Guard troops to the city of Portland. Now, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has until today at 5 p.m. to reconsider a ruling that would allow President Trump to deploy Oregon's National Guard. Last Monday, the court voting 2-1 to back President Trump's authority to deploy those troops, though the state of Oregon has asked all 11 judges to review the case. At the same time, separately, a 3-day trial set to get underway that'll begin tomorrow in district court. For now, the president cannot deploy any state's troops to Portland. Now, we're also learning more about an ongoing lawsuit that was filed against the Department of Homeland Security. It alleges some ICE detainees in the state of Oregon are not being provided with the opportunity to speak with legal counsel before being sent to detention facilities. It's a lawsuit that was filed October 16th. That was by Innovation Law Lab on behalf of Clear Clinic. That's a nonprofit legal group that provides free, low-barrier legal services, things like immigration defense and name changes. We spoke with the lawyers behind the lawsuit about the allegations and what exactly they hope to accomplish after a judge heard arguments in the case back on Friday.
Right now, our communities are experiencing a lot of fear, and the government is required to follow the law, and that is just what this lawsuit is asking for, that the government follow the law so that people are able to access their rights to counsel and other fundamental rights.
Now, in Friday's hearing, DHS's lawyers said their facilities have neither the space nor the time needed for every detainee to meet with legal counsel. Innovation Law Lab says if the restraining order is approved, it would be implemented for 14 days. They'd have to then work with the government to ensure that Clear Clinic would have access to their clients detained by ICE. Judge Ann Akins has not yet released the written opinion that would either decline or grant a restraining order against ICE. Did reach out to ICE about the lawsuit, though have not yet received a response.